the untouchable suddenly looked shaken. That's where this story really begins. Not with the gunshots, not with the flashing lights, not even with the body on the pavement, but with a man who built an empire on control, now standing in front of the world, trying to hold something together that was already slipping through his fingers. Because when J. Prince Sr. couldn't keep his composure after whispers tied his own son to the murder of Takeoff, people didn't just listen, they leaned in hard.
I wish that bullet would have hit him instead of Takeoff, because he was the one that deserved that.
And suddenly, every word he said wasn't just grief, it was evidence. Every pause, suspicious. Every sentence, picked apart like a coded message hiding in plain sight. Because how does a man known for decades of power, influence, and quiet authority crack at the exact moment his son's name starts orbiting one of the most shocking murders in hip-hop history? Let's rewind, because the details here don't just matter, they explode. Takeoff, real name Kirshnik Kari Ball, wasn't just another rapper in the room that night. He was the quiet storm behind Migos, the one who didn't talk loud, but delivered louder than anyone, the one who stayed out of drama, yet somehow became the center of the darkest one. On November 1st, 2022, Houston was supposed to be celebrating a private party, familiar faces, music, brotherhood, and most importantly, it was hosted by J. Prince Jr., the son of a man whose name alone carries weight in the industry. So tell me this, how does a night built on celebration end with a body on the ground? Because somewhere between the laughter and the dice game, something shifted, quietly, subtly, like tension creeping into a room nobody noticed until it was too late. Around 2:34 a.m., bullets tore through the night. Not one, multiple. Chaos erupted, and Takeoff, the man not even involved in the argument, was suddenly gone.
It really wasn't a situation to escalate, because it really wasn't there.
Gone. Not part of the fight. Not part of the game. Just there. And then not. And that's where things stop making sense. Because how does an innocent bystander become the only one who doesn't make it out? Police say he wasn't the target. Witnesses say he wasn't even involved. So if he wasn't supposed to be hit, then who was? And why does that question still hang in the air like something nobody wants to answer? Now here's where the story starts twisting. Because the moment the dust settled, attention didn't just fall on the shooter, it drifted. Slowly, quietly, toward the host, toward the family, toward the name that had been sitting at the center of it all from the beginning, J. Prince. And when he finally spoke, it didn't calm things down, it lit another fire. He didn't hesitate to point fingers, not vaguely, not carefully, directly, at a man he claimed sparked everything. A single action, a punch, a decision that, according to him, turned a minor situation into a fatal chain reaction. And then came the line that stuck.
You know, it was really a beautiful night, you know what I'm saying? We all family, we enjoying. Everybody kicking it, you know what I'm saying?
That wasn't just grief talking, that was positioning, that was narrative control. Because in a case like this, whoever controls the story controls the blame. But here's the problem, the internet doesn't follow scripts. While J. Prince Sr. was building his version of events, one rooted in a single instigator, people online were building something very different. Something darker, something messier, something that didn't just ask who pulled the trigger, but who created the environment where a trigger would be pulled in the first place. And suddenly, everything became a clue. The location, the guest list, the timing, the silence, especially the silence. Because when footage surfaced, just seconds long, it didn't show panic. It didn't show urgency. It showed movement. Calm, almost detached. J. Prince Jr. walking past Takeoff's body. 3 seconds. That's all it took. 3 seconds to turn speculation into suspicion, to turn a host into a question mark, to make people ask, how do you walk past something like that unless you already know what just happened? Of course, explanations came later. Context, clarifications, claims that the clip was misleading, that there was more before, more after, that what people saw wasn't the truth, it was a fragment. But here's the thing about fragments. They're enough to spark doubt, enough to fuel theories, enough to keep the story alive long after the facts should have settled it. And then, just when things couldn't get more complicated, they did. Because the man charged with Takeoff's murder, Patrick Xavier Clark, didn't just prepare for trial. He made a move that sent shockwaves through the entire narrative. He hired lawyers, not just any lawyers, lawyers connected to J. Prince. Let that sink in. The accused killer, defended by the same legal circle tied to the family hosting the party where the murder happened. Coincidence? Or something else? Because now the story isn't just about what happened that night, it's about connections. networks, power, influence, and the uncomfortable possibility that the lines between victim, suspect, and surrounding figures aren't as clean as they were first presented. And J. Prince Sr., he's still standing firm, still saying the same thing, still holding the same line, but the world around him, it's not buying it so easily anymore. Because grief can be real and still raise questions, because loyalty can be genuine and still look complicated, and because sometimes the loudest defense sounds like something trying to outrun a truth that hasn't fully come out yet. So now we're left here, waiting, watching, wondering. Was this really just a tragic accident spiraling out of control? Or is there something deeper, something quieter, something far more calculated, hiding beneath everything we've been told? Because if there is, it hasn't revealed itself yet. And the scariest part? It might not have to. And here's where everything starts to feel heavier, because the deeper you go into this story, the less it feels like a single tragic night, and the more it feels like a web that was already spinning long before the shots were fired. The kind of web where every connection matters, every relationship carries weight, and every silence sounds louder than any statement ever could. Because think about it. What happens when grief and reputation collide? When a father isn't just mourning, but also defending? That's when emotions stop being simple. That's when every word starts doing double duty. And that's exactly what people saw when J. Prince Sr. spoke again, not just as someone hurting, but as someone protecting something much bigger than himself. Because this wasn't just about Takeoff anymore. It became about legacy, it became about control, and it became about survival in the court of public opinion, where perception moves faster than facts ever could. He talked about pain, deep pain, the kind of pain that doesn't fade, doesn't soften, doesn't make sense, the kind that comes from imagining a mother burying her child. And for a moment, just a moment, the story slowed down, the noise faded, and you could almost feel it, that raw, unfiltered grief, the kind that can't be faked. But then, it shifted again. Because right after that vulnerability came something sharper, something colder, a line drawn, not just between truth and lies, but between allies and enemies. He made it clear who he stood with, and just as clear who he didn't. And when Offset's name entered the conversation, the temperature changed completely. What started as grief turned into warning. Not loud, not explosive, but deliberate, controlled. The kind of message that doesn't need to be repeated twice. And people noticed. Because when someone grieving still has the energy to issue a warning, it raises a different kind of question. What are they really worried about? Now zoom out for a second. Look at the bigger picture. Because while interviews were happening, statements were being made, and emotions were being displayed, something else was quietly unfolding behind the scenes. Time. Months passed. Then years. And instead of clarity, things got more complicated. Because the case didn't just move forward, it stretched. Delays, rescheduled hearings, shifting timelines, each pause creating more space for theories to grow. Because when answers don't come quickly, people start creating their own. And that's exactly what happened. Online, the narrative didn't just evolve, it mutated. Some said it was all chaos, a random chain reaction, one bad decision leading to another until everything spiraled out of control. But others, they weren't convinced. They started connecting dots, patterns, coincidences that didn't feel like coincidences anymore. Why that location? Why that gathering? Why those people in that exact moment? And most importantly, why did the aftermath feel so controlled? Because here's the thing nobody can ignore. Even in chaos, there are usually cracks, mistakes, loose ends. But in this case, everything seemed contained, too contained. And then there's that lingering question that refuses to disappear. Why was Takeoff the one who paid the price? Not the loudest voice, not the one arguing, not the one escalating anything, just the one who ended up gone. That randomness, it bothers people, because humans search for meaning. And when something feels meaningless, we dig deeper until we find something that makes it make sense, even if it means questioning everything. And right in the middle of all this sits J. Prince Jr., not charged, not officially blamed, but never fully removed from the conversation either. Because proximity is powerful. Being there matters. Hosting matters. And being the last environment someone walks into before they never walk out again, that matters more than anything. Now add the lawyer switch back into this, because that wasn't just a legal move, it was a narrative earthquake. Patrick Xavier Clark aligning himself with attorneys connected to the very family at the center of the environment where everything happened, that didn't just raise eyebrows, it changed the entire tone of the story. Because suddenly, it wasn't just about guilt or innocence, it became about alignment, about networks, about whether this was just coincidence or something more strategic. Because in high-profile cases like this, nothing is ever seen as random. Every move gets interpreted, every decision gets questioned, and every connection gets magnified until it either makes sense or starts to look like something nobody wants to say out loud. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Even if everything is completely innocent, it doesn't feel simple anymore. That's the real damage. Because once a story reaches this point, where every angle feels layered, every explanation feels partial, and every defense feels like it's hiding something deeper, it stops being about facts alone. It becomes about belief. And belief is unpredictable. Because some people believe J. Prince Sr., a grieving father, a man who insists his family had nothing to do with it, a man who says one person's reckless decision caused everything. And others? They believe the silence, the timing, the connections, the things that don't quite line up in a clean, comfortable way. And both sides, they're watching the same story unfold, but seeing completely different realities. That's what makes this so unsettling. Because the truth, whatever it is sitting somewhere in the middle, buried under statements, speculation, emotion, and time. And time hasn't cleared anything up. If anything, it's made it worse. Because now we're heading towards something bigger than just answers. We're heading toward judgment, not the kind that happens online, that already happened. Loudly, repeatedly, relentlessly. No, this is different. This is the courtroom, where narratives don't just exist, they get tested, torn apart, rebuilt, and sometimes exposed. And when that moment finally comes, when everything that's been whispered, suggested, and debated gets pulled into the light, there's only one question that's going to matter. Was this truly just a tragic accident fueled by one bad decision? Or is there something underneath all of this, something quieter, something more calculated, that's been hiding in plain sight the entire time? Because if there is, then everything we think we know about that night, about those people, about that moment, changes. And until that answer comes, this story isn't over, not even close.